This is the starter clutch. Now, very commonly they crack. As you can see, a crack here. This has been super glued. But if you look on this end, this is where the main crack is. Now, when it cracks, it jiggles around. So in order to prevent it from jiggling around, you have to super glue this end, which leaves a gap right here. I took very thin solder and stuffed it in those cracks, took a torch and heated this up. A soldering iron will not seal it or make it stick. Now you want to put some flux in there so that it sticks well. So stuff the flux into the cracks and then stuff the solder into the cracks and use a torch to melt it. That's going to put a barrier between the two. You can also use a metal and just stuff it with metal, but I think the solder is a little bit better. The question is it going to hold up and how long? Okay. Now when you put the rollers back in, you have to understand that the clearance is now 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters off. So the reason why the roller here is getting stuck is because the spacing has changed. So in order to compensate it, you have to cut one coil off the spring. Okay, so once you cut the one coil off the spring, it reduces it makes up for the clearance here. And now it won't get stuck. So now the roller will go back and forth easily if you cut the spring. Do you have to buy any new parts? No, you don't. This outer casing is over $100. So if you want to try this to see if it works, then you can. But there's no guarantee that this is a permanent fix unless you take this to a welder or have someone weld this right here. But it still has a gap. In which case, when you cut the spring, one coil, that gap is non-existent. So now the rollers will move back and forth easily and function as it should be. So I'll demonstrate that next. Okay, so when you put this on, you have to put thread lock on there. So you want to tighten the bolts, but you don't want to torque it yet because you have to have the three bolts on the other side at 29 pounds. And you have to do it properly, otherwise it may cause binding on one of the three. And if it's binding on one of the three, it will crack. Now, because the rollers are getting stuck, okay, the reason why it's making that noise is that these rollers are getting stuck where the crack is. So we've addressed the problem with the rollers getting stuck. But as you can see, they are no longer getting stuck. Okay, so all the rollers now are moving in and out as they should. Now let me demonstrate that. I honestly don't know which one it is. I think it's this one right here. I think it was this one. But you cannot tell the difference. Now, when you put the starter teeth on it, which I will do right here, okay, it operates as it should. It spins forward, and then it doesn't spin at all. As you can see, it doesn't spin going backwards, so it's operating as it should. Now, these are the old rollers. And I swapped out the old rollers. These are new rollers, and I also switched out the springs. But when you have a cracked casing, doing the springs and the rollers are not going to fix the problem. So that's what you have to do to fix the cracked housing. The question is, how long is it going to last? application like